What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. So I want to talk about Danny Garcia, some recent things that I've been hearing, and that's that he's traveling up to 147. That's not news. I know he's a big kid, and I heard he's having trouble making 140. So this is the natural progression for him. He's talked about that. In other news, they keep bringing up the fact I've heard Bob Arum, Freddie Roach, and they're talking about Pacquiao. If Pacquiao gets past Chris Algieri, which he should be the favorite in Macau, China. They're talking about making a potential fight with Danny Garcia. Bob Arum and Oscar De La Hoya, they've been buddy buddy, trying to mend that relationship and work together and, put together some fights. So I want to talk about all that, talk about Danny Garcia. Also seen in a Fight Hype interview, Danny Garcia was talking about moving up to 147. He also said that basically he struggles to make 147 a bit, and he gets the job done just through discipline. One thing I gotta understand, and I need you guys to help me understand, is how come Manny Pacquiao always gets a fucking pass for these weight stipulations? I don't get it. You know what I'm saying? Mayweather fights Marcos Maidana, who has been fighting at welterweight. He was on a 4 win streak. 3 of those 4 fights came by knockout, and they were good, solid names at welterweight. You know what I mean? Just people we've heard of. Jesus Soto Caras, Josito Lopez. And the 4th fight was against Adrian Broner, who was coming up, but, you know what I mean? He was the champion. He had the belt, got it from Paulie Malignaggi, etc. And he damn near stopped him. So 4 win streak, 3 were via TKO or KO, and the 4th one was almost a KO. And people don't give credit. They say, "Oh, Maidana, blah, he's too slow." Yet, if Pacquiao faces Danny Garcia, who is undefeated, and I respect and like Danny Garcia as a fighter, but he's never traveled to 147, I just don't see how this is acceptable. Like, Danny Garcia is a strong champion. I get that. He has a great left hook, but it's there's killers at 147 who actually weigh 147 or could probably even fight at 154. Guys like Kell Brook, guys like Keith Thurman. Why is there no urgency to fight them? Like, I just don't get it for Pacquiao. Anyway, as far as Danny Garcia, I would like to fight with Pacquiao. I just don't understand that logic of why Pacquiao always has some kind of weight advantage. Tim Bradley wasn't a current fighter at 147. He had fought Luis Carlos Abregu at 47. Then he dropped back down to 140, continued cleaning out 140. Then he moved back up to fight Pacquiao, and then he's been fighting there ever since. Plus, he's a guy with we know no pop. He just gets by with a willpower, tenacity, great ring IQ, and boxing ability, strategy. He mixes it up, brawls a bit. He knows how to bang and knows how to box. Then Chris Algieri, who's another stylistic problem, but not much of a puncher. And it's just like, I feel like there's always a weight stipulation. Back to Danny Garcia, like I said, Pacquiao Danny Garcia is still an interesting fight. I would give credit to Pacquiao for fighting him. But I would rather see Danny Garcia have some solid wins at 47 on his own before fighting Pacquiao. But the way the world works, we probably wouldn't get that. It looks like they're trying to make this fight. I want to get your opinion, see what you guys think. I just think when people travel up, unless, I don't know, Danny Garcia, to me, if he went up after Lucas Matisse, that would be one thing because Lucas Matisse was kind of the pinnacle. But since then, he's had 2 fights, and I can't give him full credit for those fights. One, the Herrera fight, Mauricio Herrera, I thought he lost the fight along with a lot of others. And then Rod Salka, he had pulled up a guy who was no match for him and got his shit rocked and spun around in the second round. So, I mean, I can't really give him credit. If he went up from the Lucas Matisse fight and immediately fought Pacquiao, that would be at least better, even though he hadn't fought at 147, because, in my opinion, he will have pretty much cleared out the 140 division, or either beat the guy that beat the guy. Like, he didn't fight Peterson, but he beat Lucas Matisse, who destroyed Peterson in 3. So I don't really get that. It's a fight I would definitely watch just because it's an aging Pacquiao versus a much slower Danny Garcia, but he has power. He's strong, struggles to make weight, so it could be a good fight. I would definitely watch that. Want to know what you guys think about Danny Garcia? I think Danny Garcia really has to do something big his next fight. he was talking about fighting in January, February. I think he needs to fight again this year, November, December, and that's because the Rod Salka, he took no punishment. He took no level of abuse. Why not fucking fight? You know what I'm saying? Especially if you're moving up, you can lose less weight. You took no damage in the fight with Rod Salka. Why not get your fan base back where it needs to be? Um, Other thing that I want to talk about, Danny Garcia has recently mentioned he sees no point to fight Lucas Matisse. He's on to bigger and better things. I don't like that attitude from the champion because I know Lucas Matisse, Danny Garcia is still a fight that we'd entertain. Lucas Matisse has since bounced back. He had a solid win against John Molina Jr., battled a little bit of adversity, but he got back to boxing, did his thing, won that fight via stoppage, and then he won his last fight against a stoppage against a guy who had power. So he's on the comeback trail. He still has the power. He still has good boxer puncher abilities, and I know the fans would support it. It might not be a pay-per-view event, but a rematch people would watch. I would definitely watch. If it was just a Showtime main event, I would definitely watch Lucas Matisse, Danny Garcia. Um, so I think Danny Garcia is getting a bit big-headed in the sense of feeling entitled. Like, I don't have to offer Mauricio Herrera a rematch. I don't have to offer Lucas Matisse a rematch. It's on to bigger and better things. Like, you really, in my opinion, you should do what the fans implore. You know what I mean? Do what the fans are requesting. And either move up to 147 and fight one of the killers up there, or fight, you know what I mean, a rematch that makes sense, like Mauricio Herrera, a rematch like Lucas Matisse. I just don't like that sense of entitlement that Danny Garcia is recently displaying. Like, oh, I'm fighting Rod Salka, it don't matter. Like, it does matter. Your reputation is at stake. I still like Danny Garcia. I still think he has the coldest left hook in the game. Either him or Nonito Donaire. They have great left hooks. Um, I still like, you know what I mean, he makes entertaining fights. I just think recently his interviews, he's showed a level of arrogance or just a different demeanor than I'm used to. He seemed like more of a humble Philly kid who was coming up. And recently with the glamour and glitz, I see a little bit more disrespectful to the fan type Danny Garcia. Like, oh, I don't give a fuck what the fans think type attitude. And I think, again, with the Rod Salka, you should be very quick and eager to put that past you. And I think fighting again this year would be the trick to that. So if you want to move up to welterweight, in my opinion, fight someone at the end of the year. And then if Pacquiao gets past Chris Algieri, then make that fight. Have a solid win. You know what I mean? Fight a Keith Thurman, but I doubt they would move Danny Garcia up and then his first fight a Keith Thurman, fight a Robert Guerrero, fight a Andre Berto, fight somebody who has been at welterweight, and then fight Pacquiao. That's the order I think it should be since Pacquiao's already tied up for the end of the year fighting in November. Let me know what you guys think. Danny Garcia, what do you want to see next for him? I think he needs to get back to the things that made him the champion and get back to the things that made people root for him, as opposed to his more recent attitude where people are calling him a cherry picker and not filling him with the Rod Salka and all that bullshit in his interviews. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like my video. As always, hate, comment, or subscribe. Till next video, it's Ego signing off.